Welcome to Decades, hosted by Chris Rubio. Decades is a show made up of 5 generations of people brought together to discuss topics you wouldn't normally talk about with others. The goal of the show is to learn by having some good, possibly heated discussions, without losing the simple fact that it's okay to talk to different people with different opinions other than your own.
What's going on? My name is Chris Rubio. We're live on Decades. We've got a phenomenal group. We've got someone from North Carolina, someone from Florida, someone from Los Angeles, and someone from Houston. TC, are you in Houston right now? I think you're back.
Actually, no, San Antonio area.
Oh, San Antonio. Oh, good food there. And we got Michael from Virginia, and also we've got Sub 60 Ed in the background, which exactly where I like him, so we don't hear him and or see him. So it's great.
What was that? I couldn't hear you in the background.
Exactly. We're gonna have some great discussions, guys. Remember, I want to make sure that we try to limit ourselves to about 30 seconds so other people can chime in. If you see me doing this, that means quiet down for just a second. Let me kind of reel you guys in. We're gonna start off a little light and fluffy. Tony, you're the sports guy. There's been a lot of talk about LeBron being injured at the All-Star game. I'm doing massive quotes because 2 days later he was kicking basketballs and jumping through the damn roof, blah, blah, blah. Tony, give me your top 3 basketball players of all time. Go.
Wow. Jordan, Kareem, and I'm going to go with Bird.
Wow. Now, are you doing a UCLA bias for Kareem, or do you really think Kareem?
Guy was the all-time leading scorer for 20, 25 years, had one of the most unstoppable shots in the history of the game. He was it. He was absolutely it. Which
it pisses me off, and now you're going to put me in a bad mood, Tony, because it's not one of the most unstoppable shots. It's literally unstoppable. It's such an ugly shot that no one will learn how to do it. It's like we've got a cheat code, guys. We've got the cure for cancer. It just the pill tastes bad, and everyone's like, "Oh, I don't want to do it." So, okay, now you've pissed me off. Alex, I'll check top 3 basketball players. Go.
I would say Jordan, Larry Bird, and Kobe Bryant.
Well, did he say Larry Bird?
Yes.
Michael McD.
Not much of a basketball guy. I'm just going to stick with Meadowlark Lemon as my all-time childhood, no question favorite. Okay. Undefeated I think he's undefeated, right? Never lost a game.
Okay, Bill Geiser.
Well, certainly Michael Jordan, number 1. I agree with Tony. Bird, 3. Number 2. Wow, that's a tough one. Kareem's a good one. Bill Russell. Give me Bill Russell.
It's hard to argue Bill, too. God, that's a great question by me. Crosby.
I got to give it up to Michael Jordan. I got to say Magic Johnson.
Oh.
And then I'm going to go gosh, that third one, I mean, you could go so many different ways. I'm going to go I'm going to go John Stockton. I like John Stockton play ball.
That's a mercy pick.
Yeah.
No.
Okay.
John Stockton, Jesus. No, I won't even take that answer.
Okay.
That was terrible. Sub 60. Okay, go ahead.
Oh yeah, we got to go. Jordan, Bird, and I'm going to throw Chamberlain in there.
Well, Chamberlain, it's amazing what he did on the court, considering how winded he was off the court. So
yeah,
God love him.
Exactly.
I mean, there's that.
Jim, I got you, man.
Okay, I'm going to go. You got to go Jordan. I'm going to go 2, which no one said. I'm shocked. I got to go Kobe. And number 3, I want to go Kareem, but I also want to go Larry Bird. But I loved Magic growing up, so I don't know. I've got Kareem. I go Kareem for the hook shot because it's unstoppable, and it pisses me off because Tony pissed me off now. All right. So
I've done my job then.
Yeah, you're good. This is why I should. I'm glad I shaved my head today, so I don't have to pull my hair out. I can just scratch the skull.
Kareem also gets the nod for appearing in the movie Airplane as as the co-pilot. So
Roger, Victor.
What's your over under?
You had to run up and down the court for 40 minutes with Bill Walton.
You tell your old man.
Okay. On another quick side note, Give me your best sports movie. Go, Michael. Go. You know you already answered with Airplane. Well, I'm just going to say that was your answer.
That was my answer? Okay.
Yeah,
fair enough.
Bill Geiser.
God, as much as I hate to admit it, Rudy.
Oh no, I don't take that answer. I'll tell you why I don't take that answer. Because his ex-girlfriend, she was a whore. As soon as he left, she started dating the brother. That pissed me. Like, I'm not even kidding. That pissed me off. So now I don't take that answer. Terry Crosby.
Well, the one thing I will say is Rudy was offsides in that play, though.
Oh, 100%. 100% offsides. Now you and Tony both got me fired up. Terry Crosby?
No, but it's not only the greatest sports movie, it's my favorite movie of all time. Without a doubt, Remember the Titans.
Great soundtrack. That's a damn good movie.
And Ryan Gosling was the complete liability at defensive back.
Alex, Groot.
I would go with the Mighty Ducks.
Mighty Ducks? That's not even the top 100. My God. If I had a mute, you get muted right now. Sub 60?
Hoosiers.
Oh.
Hoosiers are Titans.
Yeah,
I would have
that's a
gone
good
with
one.
TC's Remember the Titans. Those are both right up there for me.
Tony?
Remember the Titans is good. Hoosiers is good, but I'm going old school and in tribute to the team I currently cover, Ryan's song.
Oh, nice. That is old school.
Because we know Brian Piccolo went to Wake Forest. They have a building named after him at Wake Forest.
There's two movies that you can show to any man, and if they don't cry during them, you know there's something's wrong with them. Brian's song is one.
Right.
Old Yeller is two.
Yep.
If you watch either of those movies, oh geez, Tony, now I'm emotional. Yeah.
He's not going to make it through the show.
Yeah, I was going to go. See, it's so hard to not look at Field of Dreams, especially the scene when him and his dad are like, when we get a catch, and you're like, Jesus, okay, that's rough. But also, Caddyshack.
Caddyshack, Bull Durham.
Bull Durham.
Shame on all of us for not mentioning Rocky or the Bad News Bears, the original Bad News Bears with Walter Matthau.
Well, yeah, but Rocky, see, you can go. But see, the problem with talking about Rocky immediately it jumps into the conversation is: has there been ever another movie where the sequel was just as good as the first, besides like Godfather 1 and Godfather 2? Because Rocky 1, Rocky 2, hell, Rocky 3 was damn good. So was Rocky 4.
Can I nerd out for a second?
Please.
Empire Strikes Back is a better movie than the first Star Wars movie.
I've heard that. I've heard that. It's been like 30 years since I've seen them, so I would have to go through. But I've heard all the new Star Wars are absolute trash.
Well, the important thing is episode 5 is better than episode 4. Also, Wrath of
Good one, Jim.
Lots of damn good
Khan is better
ones.
than the first Star Trek movie. But there, I'm done nerding out now.
Okay. All right, so let's get back to the heated topics that I know we all want to get to. On Saturday and Sunday, I can't remember exactly what day, the email that was heard around the United States went out from Doge/Elon, and hey, 3 million federal employees. Please, within 48 hours, we need 5 bullet points. And on that note, if you're in certain categories, so if, like say, Tony works as James Bond and he's tracking Siberian terrorists, you don't have to send it in because we don't need to know what you're doing, wink, wink, because we're probably paying for something illegal. So just keep killing Siberian terrorists. So you don't have to do it. Alex on Tech, Groot, is this why is so many people up in arms about this? Why are people, it's 5 bullet points. I guarantee Terry Crosby can do 5 bullet points right now of what he's done in the past hour. So Alex on Tech, you start us off. Why was this so, I don't know, bizarrely looked at?
Well, because a lot of people who work for a federal government, okay, they never got used to some kind of accountability where they have to, provide what they do daily, not just sitting, watching videos or doing nothing, and stuff. So it's a big deal for some people who never were accountable for anything, okay? I think that's why that whole uproar, okay, what we're gonna do? It's unfair, why we need to report to somebody about what we do at work. I mean, in a private sector, we always report to our superiors and they want to know what's going on and, how we perform, okay? So that's why it's a big uproar, in my opinion,
Okay, you got a little fired up there. So about 3/4 of the way in, I lost you because your accent got thickened up. And so I couldn't understand. I heard private sector, and then I heard Bill Geiser, and I got nothing else. But I think it ended on a strong note. Tony, last word on college football. I'm assuming you have deadlines and you've got a boss, or I don't know if you're your own boss, but you have like, okay, I don't know, how long is the damn story? 2,000 words? I don't know. I wrote 2,000 words today. Does that piss you off if you have to answer that email, or is it why did people get so upset on this one?
No, it doesn't piss me off because I'm answering to someone who's actually my boss, which Elon Musk is not anyone's boss. Although I did take advantage of having the email address, and I sent in multiple lists of things I did last week. So I'm counting on the fact that I emptied the dishwasher and I cleaned the cat boxes, counting as bullet points for Elon. He's not anyone's boss. He's not even the head of Doge. So why are we having to send it to him? You want to find out what I did, go to my boss, who is the cabinet secretary for my department or the executive director. This is the equivalent of a private company hiring an outside contractor to supervise. And then the outside contractor is going directly to you instead of going through the chain of command with your supervisors and bosses. Elon's not even the head of Doge. Why would I be answering to him?
Okay. Ad drop adds in as well. How are you going to be accountable when you have a non-governmental employee sticking his nose in business doesn't concern him? Kissing up to megalomaniac billionaires is absolutely wild. Bill Geiser, what do you think about all this?
I think it's hilarious. I also think it's a genius move on Elon's part and Trump's part, because it really does ferret out a big chunk of people that got questions about it. I mean, if there are no answers there, it sort of is a tell that, hey, maybe this person is on our payroll, but they're no longer showing up to work. They're making their job a lot easier. That's number one. Number two is it's clear that there is considerably a much greater amount of support from America than there is opposition to this. And the reaction, I'll call it the uniparty, the deep state, the DNC has had to this, has become a public relations disaster for them, because every single hardworking American in the private sector knows this is a simple question. I mean, you sit down, you answer your 5 things, you make yourself look like a star, you hit send, and you move on. There's nothing to this. And for them to make a big deal about it, boy, you talk about it. It reminds me of that Seinfeld episode where George does the opposite of what he thinks is the right thing to do. It's crazy.
Okay. And Drop says not all Americans support this. Don't get that twisted. I don't think he said all Americans. I think he said a majority.
I think it's like 80% of them. It's an 80, It's an 80-20 issue. The 20% we don't care about.
I think this is Scarano. Laziness and entitlement can spread right up and down the chain of command. Shouldn't have to do this, but why are people bothered by answering to this? Do your job. Okay. Mike, what do you think?
For starters, I think it's theater. Trump had somebody had complained about Elon going too far. Trump had made a statement earlier in the weekend saying he wished Elon would do it. He likes what Elon was doing. He wished he was more aggressive. Elon immediately posted, because these guys talk back and forth on Twitter or whatever the hell it's called. They don't actually pick up the phone and call each other. Elon immediately posted some little meme that said, "Yes, Mr. President," right away. And then this happened a couple hours later. He announced on Twitter he was going to do it. And then the email went out hours later. It's all theater. It's also questionably unsecure theater, because as someone pointed out, if one email goes out to every federal employee in the BCC field and that email gets hacked, it basically gives whoever hacks it a map of our entire federal government and every employee. So that's why they silo things and don't send communications out like that, for security reasons. And Elon completely broke those rules. So putting all that aside for a second, it's all just theater. His response to what are you going to do with the responses was he was going to feed them into an AI and have the AI decide if people were doing their jobs. No one was going to lose their job because of this. This was all theater. And in fact, before anybody could get into work on Monday, dozens of department heads started messaging to their employees, don't worry about it, you don't have to answer it. And eventually the White House said, you don't have to answer it, because it was all just theater.
Okay, but does that make it look better or worse? Like what Bill Geiser's saying, he's saying that we're not asking you to lay brick in the hot Iraqi sun, or it's just doing this. But there's so many complaints about just 5 bullet points. Go ahead.
It looks like the Muppet Show. It's nothing. It's meaningless.
But then what if someone says like, okay, but then you're getting upset at the Muppet Show?
Yeah.
Oh, before employees could even get upset, supervisors were pulling it back. Like the fact that it happened over the weekend means it's the only people getting upset are the Twitterverse. Like the employee, I mean, like there wasn't even time to do a lawsuit against it.
Can you pull up that last comment for me? Sub 60, I couldn't read it. 80-20 issue considered 9. The dissent of those consider 3/5 of a human. That Republican nonsense will screw America. And I'm sorry you want this. You've got it. Okay. I don't think anyone's sorry what they got though. I mean, Terry Crosby, are you sorry for your vote? Let's say I would assume that you voted for Trump. Okay. I could be wrong. I don't know.
You could be wrong, but you're not.
Okay.
No, my whole thing is, I've got nothing to worry about because I do my job. And I don't mind being accountable. Like I don't know who it was. Somebody said earlier, the person who's my boss can ask me, "What do you do? What am I paying you for?" When I go to Vegas for you, you tell me what I'm doing.
Yeah.
Hang up the signs. You know what I do because I do my job. I don't have a problem being accountable for my actions. If I'm not accountable and I got something to hide, then I would, the truth hide. The truth doesn't need to hide. That's.
But that's being accountable to your boss. Elon's not anyone's
it's being
boss.
accountable to me first.
Okay,
I'm accountable to myself.
But Elon's not
before my
anyone's
boss.
boss. And to the point of this being theater, easily half, probably 2/3 of these people are protected by federal employee unions. You're not touching them, Elon, with your little, if you don't respond, you're fired. Most of these people belong to unions, which have collective bargaining agreements with the federal government. They're not. This is all a bunch of, this is all a bunch of fealty to Donald, which is why Elon's doing it, because we all have to prove, our fealty to the emperor, and so this is just another step in that.
But do you think that more people think that the federal government employees do their job, or do you think less people think that they do?
I think to make a sweeping indictment of 3 million people would be absurd, no matter whether you like the job they're doing or not. I think, that's part of what's happening is instead of going in with a scalpel and looking and doing a real audit, a real one, and saying not just what we surmise in 3 days of looking at whatever the hackers have pulled up for them, but doing a real assessment, which is what the inspectors general used to do before Trump fired all of them, is we're just taking a sledgehammer at all of it, just assuming everything's bad, they all suck, and to hell with all of them.
But if they can articulate that they've done their job, do you think they're going to get fired?
No, they should articulate it to their boss, just like you do, just like I do, to their boss.
I'm retired now, so I don't have a boss.
All right, well, you get my point.
Actually, she's in the other room, so I do too.
Ad Drop says you've got nothing to worry about because you're a white man in America, born on third base. I'm thinking you hit a triple. Okay, I'm not sure who he's talking to, or she. But okay, and I guess you got a little bit of an issue going right now, which is fine. You can do what you want. Bill Geiser, what are your thoughts on this?
Well, I think what we're seeing right now is we're seeing some of the core differences between the last administration and this new administration. And I would sum it up is that it's a clash of cultures. It's a culture of unaccountability and a new one coming in that wants to implement a culture of accountability. So I don't think the question's unreasonable. I don't think taxpayers should be shunned for asking, how in the hell is my money being spent? I want to have some visibility on it. I also disagree with what Tony said about the scalpel approach. What you've got here is a government that is hemorrhaging money at a massive scale. We are losing trillions of dollars, and the acceleration of that loss is increasing. It's not getting any slower. This to me is just like what a turnaround guy does when he comes into a company losing money. You hack the shit out of it, and you cut deep up front. You can't cut a little bit here and a little bit there and a little bit there, because number one, it destroys morale. Number two is you never stop the problem. So we got to stop the bleeding here pretty quick. I say take out a bigger axe, start really chopping, and in those cases where you make mistakes and you cut things you shouldn't cut, which we've already done here. That's already been done in this Doge thing, but they react quick to it, hire those people back or add replacements to it. So I'm all for it. It's time we get a lean government that is focused on the important shit. I don't give a shit about drag queen shows in Somalia and all that other horse shit that they're funding. I want to take care of homelessness in America, fix education, healthcare. Let's spend some money here, fix our problems.
Okay, and we can obviously see, I'm going to come right to you, Tony. We can see that Terry Crosby's favorite character in the movie is Doc Holliday from Tombstone, because he's coughing nonstop. So make sure you swallow those pretzels or whatever you're doing. Tony, go ahead and respond.
I mean, to talk about the difference in cultures, I think is what you said, Bill. I don't want to misquote you, but Amy Gleason was part of the last administration as well. She is the boss of Doge. She was hired by Trump years ago and stayed for the Biden administration. She was part of the U.S. Digital Services, which was then renamed Doge in the time that we live in. It's already been going on to some degree, but this is more theatrical, like Michael said. The other part of it is we want to talk about, okay, well, we need to bring a sledgehammer. Hey, I don't know if y'all watched the news tonight, but talk about fealty to Trump. All right. The House turned down the budget bill, and then Trump started making calls to the Republicans who voted no. And now there is a House budget bill that increases the deficit by $4 trillion. So I don't think the libs that everybody wants don't want to hear about having to cut the government and the expenditures when the Republicans just passed a bill that's going to add $4 trillion to the deficit.
Terry, are you okay?
I'm going to be all right.
Okay.
I'm in my prime.
Me Too Brother says, I want a tax refund for all the shit being paid for overseas. I didn't vote for that caca. Okay. Is that how you spell caca? That's not the way I would spell it. C-A-C-A? I don't feel like that's the proper way. Tony, you're a writer. Is that the way you spell caca?
I can't say I've ever actually used it in a piece that I've written, so I'm ill-equipped to answer that. I'm sorry.
Hey, listen, you can reserve it for the Mavericks.
All right, so, okay, there was one more comment before that from, I think, the YouTube guy, where it said, if this was a government sub 60, I think it was going at Tony. Do you have it still? So if Trump was using someone, a agency to do the exact same thing Musk is doing, would you comply?
Well, yeah, if this came from Amy Gleason and her office, because she's authorized, she was approved by the United States Senate to run this department. Yeah, because that's an that is a thorough executive mandate at that point.
Okay, so but what about the people that are saying, okay, because you're saying we need a scalpel, boo, 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 we're doing this. Bill guys are saying, let's do like the Fargo wood chipper. We're just throwing things into it, all going crazy nonstop. And you're saying, oh, we need a scalpel. What about the person that says, things are actually coming around, getting done. Why haven't we been doing this for 30 years? Why haven't we had the scalpel, like doing this, doing that? Like, what's the answer to that if you're looking at it from the outside? Because it's all of a sudden like someone's finally doing something and everyone's like, whoa, we can't patch up all these holes right now. We got to use like little sticks of gum or Q-tips to do this. From what I'm going to come to you, Michael. Bill Geiser saying, dude, the house has been burnt. We can't just save the laundry room. We got to demo the whole damn thing and start up.
Yeah, where do the holes come from?
Yeah. Where do the holes come from? Michael, go ahead.
Yeah, well, aside from people being fired and the occasional plane dropping from the sky, what's being done differently that wasn't being done 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 months ago? What big changes in national infrastructure, Department of Defense, Medicare, what services have you guys seen get better since these firings started?
Well,
I think the question is,
about,
what's gotten worse?
Well, it's give it a little time. We're week 3? Like, I promise you,
Yeah, we agree.
they've already gotten rid of people that they had to claw back because they realized
he's been in office for 30 days. You know how many questions he's answered in 30 days?
Right. And I
interesting statistic. Trump has answered 1,000 direct questions from the press in his first 30 days. Any guess how many Biden answered in his first 30 days?
Oh, Biden wasn't around. He was, yeah. But
I mean, let's.
141.
What
we've got is a president that's really engaged in his job.
I didn't want people to get questions for answers for questions. My point is simply, I am with you, by the way, that anybody saying Trump hasn't improved the economy yet is crazy because he's only been there for a month. I'm with you on that, right? And while I appreciate the fact that he's been more active and he's answered a whole bunch of questions, I'm sure occasionally and maybe by accident with something truthful, but the point is we're firing people, but we're taking jobs away from Americans, not all of which are just lazy leeches, by the way. We're just and we're doing it so poorly that on 2 different situations, the folks that track the nukes and the folks that study bird avian flu, the minute we did, within days of doing it, we had to claw them back. That's the Department of Efficiency, firing people and rehiring them within days of each other. That's opposite of efficiency.
That happens. Yeah.
Not to your nukes. No
it's
way,
stupid
man.
And
not
crazy.
But you're not going to hire back 100% of what they cut. You're going to learn.
No way does this happen to your nuclear armament.
Pretty damn efficiency with a hell of a lot less resources.
I'm just saying it's theater, it's silly, it's stupid,
I disagree.
And my prediction is in 6 months there will be a lot of these people will be hired back, either private or back into their jobs, or other people just as qualified or not qualified, because some of this stuff's not going to be getting done. VA checks aren't going to go out. Medicare checks aren't going to go out.
Michael, I think you're
I'd take that bet. I'd take that bet.
But I think you guys are almost agreeing somewhat here because Bill Geiser is saying, yes, we're going to cut some and you're going to bring some back. And you're saying they're going to cut some and bring some back. I mean, maybe I'm hearing it differently.
An efficient way an inhumane way to do it.
But then the answer to Michael, then the question would be, like I said before.
Inhumane way. They're getting 8 months severance.
Yeah, that's not.
No,
you know how many people in the private sector get that, Michael?
They are not. The only people getting 8 months severance are the ones who took the early retirement buyout.
That's not my understanding.
I'm sorry, but your understanding is incorrect.
Where?
Because
point me in the right direction.
Oh, because fine. I'm not your personal Google, but you can look it up. Federal government employees.
As we speak, I will do that.
Federal government employees are getting 1 week severance for every year that they worked. The only ones getting 8 months are like the FBI agents who took the early buyout. You are under a contract that allowed for an early retirement and early buyout, you get the 8 months. Everybody else gets 1 week for every year paid, up to 10 total.
Right.
Okay. So
that's less than my company gives.
Right. So they're not all getting 8 months. Some of them are, not all of them.
Some of them are, some of them are not. Everyone agrees not all of them are Mama Aquino. But the point is we have a significant amount of governmental bloat. That's a fun word to say, that we want to clean up.
I'm not disagreeing with that at all.
Agreed.
I'm just saying, move through it department by department, figure out who the bad people are and get rid of them. Don't get rid of everybody and then invite some back. That's stupid.
That'd take about 1,000 years to get through this thing. That's a problem.
Getting
You know
the
what?
max
That's
could
the
take
way
about 1,000 years.
every administration has tried to solve this problem, and 100% failed. 100% of those initiatives have failed doing it the way you suggest, Michael. You got to go after. You got to tackle this problem different.
Well, I
What
see, I
do you
don't.
mean they failed? I don't understand. What do you mean 100% of the initiatives failed? We still
They
have
haven't
a
reduced the
somewhat
size.
functioning government.
They haven't achieved the objectives of the. Can we scale the government down? Can we run a leaner company or organization with less people, less money, and deliver the same quality or better of care and service? All those initiatives failed. What happens is you got more people. The federal government employment shot up over the last 3 or 4 years. I mean, it soared. The number of people we added to the federal government payroll. That's not efficiency. We didn't need all those people. That was doctoring the books to make the economy look like it was booming because the private sector was laying off people left and right because the economy sucked and inflation was out of control. We're going to fix that problem. That's bullshit.
It's
That's
hard.
cooking. You know what that is? That's cooking the books.
Yes.
That's what that's called.
Right. Mike Donnelly says, "Can we start by just balancing the budget?" Well, yeah. I'd like to part my hair in the morning too, but that's a rough one. I see 1, 2, 3, 3 others too, probably the same way. Mama Kita says, "If this was Bernie / Kamala, I think that's Kamala." Oh, Jesus, sub 60. Slow down, Daddy. Some call it theater, maybe see it as a wake-up call. Stop wasting our money. That's Carano again. Go back to the Mama Aquino one. If this was Bernie / Kamala pushing a government-efficient plan, they would be up here singing its praises. Michael is shaking his head.
Not if it was done like this. Nope.
But okay, well, you guys, and I understand you're saying not like this, but then the person goes, okay, like what? Like, dude, you had Joey B in there for 4 years, and like this wasn't even a thought. Like, what? Like, what are you waiting for?
Sure,
like, what? Like in an ideal world, like, okay, we can all agree that the governmental, what did Mama Aquino say, bloat, which is a fun word to say, is too much. Okay, we've got so much excess crap where you don't need this, there's this, we don't need to be spending this. Then there's a whole issue of Tony makes $140,000 a year as a senator, but he's worth $35 million. Okay, let's kind of figure this one out. So why now? Why can't we just start looking at it now? Like let's dive full speed ahead. And who gives a rat's ass if it's Elon or Doge doing it? At least someone's doing it. Mama Aquino says, why is the left so vehemently, all these big words from Mama Aquino, oppose the first real movement towards making the government more efficient?
I don't see any evidence of more efficiency.
Okay,
I don't see anything being done more efficiency except firing people.
You expect results in what, 3 weeks, 2 weeks?
We're going to get their jobs back because most of the stuff is tied up in court right now anyway.
Right. So, but I mean, Aquino's making the point that it's moving towards efficiency. And my point is, if I can't claim it's inefficient, you guys can't claim it's efficient yet. We don't know. All we know is people are losing their jobs.
That I agree with.
Yeah,
all we know is people are losing their jobs.
Okay,
Americans
but no,
are losing their jobs.
100%. Now, but did you say the same thing on when Joey B said Keystone Pipeline done, and there's 14,000 jobs done right there?
Yeah, because so whether you agreed with it or not, he had
Just asking a
reasons
question.
behind.
Or
He
like,
had
when
reasons behind it.
how many of these people in the military?
Well, Trump has reasons too.
COVID vaccine.
They all have reasons.
Or the COVID
The
vaccine.
difference is Joe said they could either learn to code, and Jen Psaki said, go sell solar panels or something.
Yeah, exactly.
I think that's an awkward paraphrasing what happened, but okay.
No, what she said were there are a lot of
Green
green
jobs.
climate jobs for the out of workers, and Joe said learn to code.
Mike Donnelly says, can we all at least agree that our government is full of waste, fraud, and abuse? I
think it has some. I don't know if it's full of. I don't know if everyone who works for the government is waste, fraud, and abuse.
I have a question. Waste, I will agree. Abuse, I will agree. If there's fraud, where are the indictments? Where's anything proving fraud? You haven't proven yet. He has not proven 1 ounce of fraud. He's proven wasted money. Absolutely. I give him that.
Not yet.
Come on.
I mean, hey, Tony, think of it. There are, you know how many payment transactions the Treasury processes annually?
Yeah, trillions.
1.3 billion payment transactions.
All you
Now,
need
they're
is one. All
following-
you need is
they're-
one
that's what they're
fraudulent
using.
one
They're
to put
using
the
all
cuff.
that software to trace it. Now, where it gets fuzzy is all the federal money that goes to NGOs, where then it becomes really fucking opaque. And
Because
the problem is there are a whole bunch of our government officials, Republican and Democrat, who play active roles in NGOs. And I'll tell you what, that's where you're going to find the fraud. And I don't care what stripe they're wearing. If they're Republican, if they're Democrat, if they're taking our fucking tax dollars and paying it out and giving it to mom or pop or themselves, jail those motherfuckers.
Yeah, investigate them, prove it, and send them to jail. It's the criminals.
But
Know that,
Tony
but that's
says,
not what
where's
Doge
the
is
evidence of
doing.
the fraud? Tony,
Well,
they're not going to find that evidence
Why?
in 2 to 3 weeks. And if your expectation is they have only 2 weeks to do it and then they got to cut it off, come on, man.
Why not? We got U.S. attorneys who have pledged undying loyalty, not to the Constitution, but to Trump. I mean, Sub 60's got something. I know that the new U.S. attorney for D.C. is demanding. Yeah, I mean, aside from being ignorant about how to use a possessive apostrophe in writing and failing second grade English, talking about refusing to put America first. Dude, you are a U.S. attorney. When you file a lawsuit, it is the people of the United States versus whomever. All right. So you got all these U.S. attorneys who are in Trump's back pocket. It shouldn't be that hard to get an indictment against even 2 or 3 people just to start to show fraud. And before I jump off real quick, I swear, the next time we hear, shut down the XL pipeline. Damn it, the XL pipeline is pumping stuff down to the Gulf of Mexico via New Orleans as we speak. It was the extension that was shut down, and it was shut down by the United States Supreme Court in a case. And Trump ignored it, and Biden followed the U.S. Supreme Court. It was the Keystone Pipeline is running the way it always has been, the way it was intended to, down off the coast of New Orleans. So Keystone is running. The XL pipeline, the extension was shut down. It cost exactly 2,000 jobs, period. And it was the United States Supreme Court that ordered it. You don't like it? Blame SCOTUS.
Okay, let's go back. You guys are doing a great job right now, but we got a whole bunch of slew of comments coming in. And I don't like the fact that Tony knows what the past participle comma or whatever the hell he said, but can't spell cock. So
it's my job, man. It's my job.
Yeah. Well, so is spelling caca. Jesus. Okay. Go back to Bergeron's comments. He had like 5 or 6 in a row. Bergeron says there will never be any indictments because the political class don't want to go after their own. Trump is unique among politicians in being prosecuted. Then he had Biden was fully pardoned. Clinton emails were never pursued. The fraud won't be unveiled because they don't want you to see it.
I hope you're wrong, Johnny.
And Mike Donnelly says Social Security payments to people 120 plus years old isn't fraud.
False. There were no payments to people 150 years old, even though Trump kept saying it. It's hogwash. That was a coding issue because his little hackers don't know how to read I think it's pronounced COBOL code, COBOL, which if there is a not known age, it defaults to the year 1875. So it looks like they're 150 years old. Nobody was ever paid on that. When someone dies, and I speak as someone who's been the executor of 5 different estate family members who died, the funeral home in 50 out of 50 states is required to report the death to the Social Security Administration so it stops the payments. This hogwash that Trump, in all of his transparency and his speeches, was talking about is nonsense. It's because his people don't know how to read the proper code.
Okay, Tony, number one, how old are you that you've done this 5 times? Are you just like bad luck to be around? That's number one.
Yeah, I'd watch your back, Rubio. That's all
I'm glad you're not coming to visit me in Charlotte. Good Lord. Go back to that last comment, Sub 60, and then I got you, Crosby. No, not that one. There was one more after that. I think there was. I just want to see who killed Kennedy and flight logs for Epstein Island. Can we just jump side note real quick? what is the reason, Michael, legally or whatever? Why are we not seeing these flight logs? Like, I mean, it's one of those known things that's unknown. That's like, I just don't get it. What am I missing here?
About Epstein Island? I don't know.
I mean, because I remember I went on to the Bahamas. This is probably 15 years ago, and I took not a glass bottom tour, but a tour of the water, and you could see the water. And it looks like Windex right around there. And even the boat guy was like, "Yeah, that's the Epstein Island. We don't talk about that here." And I was like, and so then I at that point I didn't know, so I was like Googling. I was like, "Jesus, this is like a code red." I better not hang out.
It's either a lot more. It's either a lot more interesting or a lot less interesting than any of us think. But I don't know. Is there even a current lawsuit against the Epstein estate now or anything? If there was something going on legally, then we might start seeing some stuff. But I mean, he's dead. So what are we investigating, right?
Well, like no, but I know his. Was it Madam? Who was that lady? The Ghislaine Maxwell.
She's in jail.
So she's in jail for what?
For sex trafficking. She was helping.
I know. Sex trafficking to whom? It's like
I've got too much to do in my life to follow that case.
I know, but it was a side topic. I saw it. I opened it.
If you think Pam Bondi is going to release the Epstein logs, there is no way. She owes her life to Trump. I mean, and when she was running for Florida Attorney General, she took campaign donations from Trump in exchange for the state of Florida dropping the investigation into Trump University. And now because again, fealty to Donald, she's the U.S. Attorney General. There is no way she's releasing the Epstein files.
What does that have to do with it?
Anybody thinks Epstein was running.
You don't think Trump wants him released?
No.
He's insinuating Trump's name is going
to be in there somewhere.
Trump want her to not release him?
Because he was there.
Because his name is going to be on the paperwork.
Yeah, if anybody thinks Epstein Island was like a partisan island of just liberals running around doing bad things, you're crazy. Everybody was there. All the rich, bad people were there.
I agree. But I'll take a side bet, Tony. I'll bet they do release it.
I'll bet they shred it.
And I hope it's not a redacted list.
I'll bet it goes in a burn bag instead of anything.
Open the whole thing up.
If anybody releases it, it'll be Anonymous or WikiLeaks or somebody will hack it. It won't be anybody government.
I think it's going to be different. That's my take. We'll find out. Hopefully, if it doesn't come out in the next 30 to 60 days, then I would agree with you. It either comes out quick or it's not coming out.
Fair enough. I don't remember the representative's name, the congresswoman who I would say is from Florida, who is looking into the Kennedy killings and said she wants to interview people from the Warren Commission.
Isn't that Luna?
Yes, I think you're right. And she wants to interview people from the Warren Commission. Oh my God, they're all dead. That was 80 years ago.
That was a slip up. Man. That was a slip up.
Yeah,
she's still pretty hot though.
Whatever.
I thought Oliver Stone solved that.
I agree. It's probably a variety of people in all walks of life, politics, jobs, etc. Oh, I would 100% agree. I just think if El Trumpo had any part of it, I think it would. I mean, they've gone after every single thing else. I mean, I can't imagine they wouldn't dig a little bit more for him. Is there anything that so far, this will be a double-sided question. Michael and Tony, is there anything that has happened in the past 30 days where you're like, I kind of like it, and I don't want to admit it in public. And on the flip side, TC, Gru, and Bill, is there anything you've seen in the past 30 days where like, I didn't vote for that?
Which one
TC, why don't you answer first before you start choking?
Who's going?
You're TC.
Oh, I didn't hear TC.
Oh.
I was choking on my own spit.
Before you start choking.
My whole thing with Trump is, and I by any means don't think that he's the savior of the world. I don't think he is the best choice. He's just the best choice for right now. But that's just me. I don't like just the grandstanding bravado, just for the sake of grandstanding and bravado. If you're going to stand up to a world leader, if you're going to stand up and make America a more powerful position, by your theatrics, okay, that's one thing. But just to say, we've got the best bottled water. All the bottled water in the world is the best bottled water if it comes from here. That whole thing, I'm just believe me, you're not going to find many people more patriotic and proud of America than I am. But let's at least be honest and be realistic. I don't like the grandstanding and the bravado.
Okay, so you don't like that, but that's just an El Trumpo thing. He's been doing that for 40 years.
Yeah, it is what it is.
He probably embellishes it just a tad more since he has a stage at all times now. Gru?
Well, I think whatever eventually will come out of it is good. I'm just seeing changes, and hopefully those changes are going to be good for all of us. Okay, it's too early to tell. Okay, we need to see some changes in 2 weeks or 3 weeks. It's not enough time to see any real changes. Okay, especially looking at the last 4 years, which was basically a regression. Okay, I mean, I just want to see progress. Okay, and I hope the progress will be happening soon.
I got you. I could understand you too, Gru.
He's not fired up.
Okay.
Oh yeah. Go ahead, Michael.
I'm sitting here trying to think of something I like, and I keep coming around to he hasn't done anything as disastrous as I suspect he could have done by now, which is a backhanded compliment, I know, right?
Yeah, I was gonna say, God, you got a great personality, even though you're ugly. It's one of those.
Yeah, it's he hasn't actually officially declared himself yet, but I'm sure he will at some point. This is my king crown, like in his various social media posts. He likes to.
Why do you have a king's crown?
What?
Why do you have a king's crown?
I think my son had it for some school play a couple years ago.
I was going to say,
around the basement. But when I saw Trump put Trump supporters put a "All Hail the King" computer generated image of King Trump up, I couldn't help resist taking it down off the shelf.
I'd pay money to count on such.
I guess I'm thankful he hasn't announced he's going to run again.
Can't.
Well, yeah, there is that. Tony, go ahead.
I actually like the deal that he has reported. Well, he's at least bragging about it, that he has reportedly struck with Ukraine with regards to assets and their rare earth minerals, where he kept saying, we're going to get $500 million worth of it. No, we're not. We are going to help them produce it. They are going to use that money to reestablish their country, their infrastructure. If it does wind up being true, then we're not trying to benefit off a decimated country. Then I think it's probably a good deal.
Okay, so Tony's got one right there. Bill Geiser?
I just think the fact that we know, I mean, like him or not, he's a polarizing guy. But what I like is that we now know who the president of the United States is. And it was a question mark over the last 4 years. So he's front and center. I mean, Joe Biden, was the president, but he was never there. And there were plenty of questions about who are making the decision. He wouldn't answer questions. He wouldn't have press conferences. He'd finish a speech, and then he'd turn around and shake hands with the invisible man and walk off nowhere. With Trump, you know what you're getting. He is in charge. He's the chief executive of the United States. And like I said, like him or not, I at least like to know who's the guy to blame or who's the guy to give the credit to.
Well, I think Joey B was so old he couldn't come out and speak too much because he was afraid Tony was going to take charge of his estate at any point.
The Grim Reaper.
But Bill, weren't you supposed to say something you don't like about Trump?
Oh, what don't I like? I think Trump, like Elon, has a style that's off-putting. I think they're both really good business people. I think they both see things from a different angle that are good. But I think the style of how they communicate, it really pisses off people. It just drives them fucking nuts. You know, like I was telling Rubio earlier, this weekend, Elon came out with the chainsaw. That really pissed off a lot of people. It was just
repulsive.
It's bad optics. You know, they could work on a little bit of Dale Carnegie would probably go a long way.
Yeah, that was repulsive. People are losing their jobs, and he's running around laughing with the chainsaw. I was hoping it was on and it was going to cut off what's left of his manhood.
Was that given to him by the president of
That could
Argentina?
have been your sixth client, Tony.
That's right.
It was handed to him by the president of Argentina, and while that was going on, one of his former girlfriends was tweeting about how he had to get in touch with her. There was a health issue with one of his children, and she was angry he wasn't returning her phone calls. So there's your family values guy right there.
Hey, Chris. There's a comment on here that's several far up from Johnny Bergeron, so I don't know if Sub 60 can get to it. This says, I would bet Michael everything to my name that Trump will not crown himself king. Dude, there's a picture of him in the Oval Office wearing a crown that they had framed. So, already done.
Well, we could have taken a picture of Michael right now with a crown.
Sure. He's the king of his house. There you go.
You need a bigger crown, man. And
I'm
I
going to be
want
the Gallagher of this podcast. I'm going to start.
I want to see and you live somewhat near Sub 60. I want to see that crown on Sub 60. See if it just looks like a little yarmulke because his head's so big.
Oh,
wait,
I
got a
it
question.
would. That
Right.
I mean, Mike's got a pretty big head too. I mean, he's in our group.
Whoa,
I got a
whoa, whoa!
melon.
Put me in your group, my man.
Oh no, you got a melon on you.
But it fits my body. I'm 6'2". I should have a big head.
I'm 4'2" and I got a big head. What can I say? A lot of brains.
4'2".
Hey,
Yeah, whatever.
But
Whatever.
wait, I gotta think yesterday, because it hasn't been brought up, and I know we got tons of subjects. But the United Nations passed a resolution blaming Russia for invading Ukraine, which was legit because Russia invaded Ukraine. The U.S. voted against the resolution, and our partners in voting against it were Israel, Libya, Iran, and North Korea. Is that a vote we're really proud of, to have those as our partners in the world, in the United Nations?
Yeah. I mean, does anybody on this podcast think that Russia didn't invade Ukraine?
Go ahead, Groove.
Okay, Russia did invade Ukraine, but Ukraine constantly voted against Israel on any UN resolution, whether it was against Palestinians, for any reason they would vote against Israel. So it could be a payback by Ukraine.
Okay, so
Okay,
that explains
yeah.
Israel, but we're still partners then with Libya, Iran, and North Korea. How proud you must be.
Johnny Bergeron just came in. I think one more time, Sub 60. You got to leave these up, Mark. The United Nations is meaningless. Johnny Bergeron coming out hot. Tony,
Yes.
you did the eye roll for that. Why the eye roll?
Well, sure, it's meaningless unless your nation gets attacked, and much of the United Nations comes to your aid after 9/11, but now we think it's meaningless. It wasn't so meaningless after 9/11 when there were military units put together from many of these nations that helped support our cause. So.
Okay, good point. So, final thoughts.
Ask a lot of people right after a tidal wave or a hurricane, when the United Nations forces come in with food and shelter and malaria tents and all that stuff. Ask them how meaningless the UN is then.
All I know
Hey,
is
maybe they'll come into North Carolina.
Yeah.
All we got to do is invite them. I'm sure.
Because here's how our organization
Yeah,
kind
right.
of left them in the grease.
Right.
all I'm saying is after a tsunami or any natural disaster, I just don't want to see Tony.
I don't blame you.
If I see the United Nations,
I'll drink to that.
That's cool. But if I see Tony, I'm paddleboarding right back into the tsunami because it's going to be better. That's all I'm saying.
You should.
Guys, this is a phenomenal show. Sub 60, you can come back on if you'd like. Michael, question: are you just high-fiving me or?
No, I just Googled it while we were talking. All right, late 19th century, from cac or directly from Latin cacare, to defecate, is where we get caca, caca from.
There you go. That what a note to end this show on.
It is CACA.
Caca.
Well, Tony, you learn something new every day.
I did.
And
Tony,
somehow you got to work it in.
Tony, if you need any freelance research done for anything you're writing, just let me know and I'll take care of it.
You got it, brother. You got it.
I want to thank Sub 68, the man behind the keyboard, myself, Gru, Bill Geiser, Tony, the Minister of Death, Siracusa, and Michael McD. Guys, you guys did a great job. If anyone would ever like to come on Decades, maybe you think you want to throw your hat in the ring or crown, Michael style, feel free. And if you can get through without coughing like TC, we'd love to have you on here. Also, you can always email decadesshow24@gmail.com. Cheers, guys. You guys did a great job.
Cheers.